Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Hi, hello-y. My name is Loey, and it's been a little too long since I've said that. I am back with you guys once again today to take a look into the scary side of TikTok. However, today's video is going to be a little bit different from all of my other episodes. I have been posting little bite-sized horror bits and pieces onto TikTok over at LoeyBugXO for a while now. I've been pretty consistent for like the last couple of months, I'd say. And before that, I would always post just the odd scary TikTok. And today I have 35 of my own favorite scary TikToks that come from my own account, baby. I hope that you guys will enjoy this. Before we get into it, I do want to say a huge thank you for your patience while I've been away. I took the longest break I've ever taken since I started YouTube 11 years ago. It was a whopping month long and I did not check in one single time. And it's not because I wanted to, it's because I've been very, very sick. I just posted a members video talking a little bit more in depth about that if you're curious, but if you want the TLDR, I was kind of in and out of the hospital for a bit. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm getting better every single day. And yeah, thank you so much for your patience. I really, really, really appreciate it. I'm happy to be back and hopefully you enjoy this video. I thought this would be a good one to start off with because these are all my own TikToks. Like I know them inside and out. And I've really wanted to make a video like this for a while now because as much as I always think, well, you guys have seen these videos. You've seen my little 4-minute long scary stories on TikTok. So many of you haven't because you watch my channel for scary TikToks because you don't have TikTok or you don't like scroll through scary stuff like that, you know? So yeah, this is actually gonna be a fairly long video, so get yourself a drink and a snack. I have posted many a bite-sized horror video over on TikTok and it certainly has added up. Some of these videos will require a bit of a setup, just a little bit of extra explanation or going into more detail, and for others, I'm just gonna let you listen to me talk all the way through. But the first one I wanted to start off with is something I've been meaning to talk about, I guess, on my channel for a really, really long time. It all starts off when I moved to Los Angeles 3 years ago. Now, I posted this TikTok to a trending sound at the time that's copyrighted, so I can't play it, but I essentially turned this road trip that I had into a little skit. I was taking a road trip across the country with 2 of my best friends, and we booked a bunch of old hotels. I specifically wanted to book old hotels because I was hoping that along the way with this road trip, I could also make like a haunted road trip video while I was simultaneously moving to Los Angeles. The first stop of our trip was in New Orleans, and I was really excited. We had booked specifically a very old historic hotel that was supposedly very haunted, and nothing really happened for the first chunk of the night. My friends were very much so like, girl, there's nothing here. And they were both pretty skeptical anyways. But when I was asleep, I had sleep paralysis, as I basically say in this TikTok. I had a sleep paralysis demon laying on my chest, holding me down. And I experienced a sleep paralysis. It was absolutely terrifying. I was literally laying in bed between 2 of my friends. And as I'm like coming to, you know, when you have a sleep paralysis episode, or maybe you don't, when you have sleep paralysis, it's kind of like, at least for me, all the little bits and bobs of my body just start waking up bit by bit. I can slowly start to feel my body again. And then suddenly the demon was gone and I felt something wet drip onto my head. And wouldn't you believe it, the very next day, leaving that hotel, after I told them what happened, my car broke down. My car broke down and we had to stay an extra day in New Orleans, but you know where we didn't stay? That hotel. I don't know what dripped onto my head, but I did look up at the ceiling and there was nothing there. That video never really turned into anything. It turned out to be kind of more of a stressful trip. I was moving across the country with my friends, of course, but I was doing it alone. I was moving for the first time on my own, living in a house with myself. And yeah, that video ended up kind of getting scrapped. That was the most interesting thing that happened on that trip by far. And now I'm gonna just play you a few of my TikToks and hop in when I need to. This viral mimic video of somebody hearing their mom call out their name when their mom is not home has a darker context to it that makes it so much scarier, and I haven't seen anyone talking about this.
Gabe? Gabe, it's your mom. You should come
The video was posted in 2023 by TikTok users stuck in a fake reality. And after this experience, whatever this thing was apparently came back. This time using a different but equally familiar voice.
Hey, come out. Watch some scary movies. Got some Scream free ready to go. What are you doing in there, dude? It's been almost a month. Look at us from Gordon. I couldn't trust this.
Now, all of these posts are hashtagged with ARG, aka alternate reality game, so it's safe to say that Gabe is not claiming that any of this is actually real, but I've heard it circling with a theory that it happened in the Appalachian Mountains, that it's a mimic, while the true story is a little bit weirder, because whatever this was, it basically found Gabe in the back rooms. Stay spooky, friends. If you ever hear someone call out your name while you're home alone, especially if it sounds like your own voice, do not answer. A creator named Melody is currently going viral on TikTok for capturing what a lot of people believe is a mimic on camera.
Okay, first of all, why didn't anyone tell me that if you have yeah?
She was so freaked out by this that she went on to pretend she was on FaceTime with someone as she was recording this TikTok. And she tried to play it off like maybe it was my cat, but we both know cats don't meow like that. And later on in the video, you can hear what sounds like someone whispering her full name. Like I said, a lot of people are in the comments saying that this is a mimic. And a mimic is a type of entity that can mimic people that you know and love, or just something familiar to you, whether it's a loved one's voice or your own calling out to you. Mimics can also disguise themselves to look like people that you know. And while she didn't see anything, I know from experience that mimics can be really, really convincing. My family had an experience with one that I can tell you about in a Storytime video if you want, but it was one of the scariest experiences of all of our lives. I luckily wasn't living in the home when it happened. It was just my dad and brother, but neither of them were really all that big into the paranormal, and they both were utterly terrified by the activity that was going on in our home at that time. These gigantic 6'3", 6'4" men, scared out of their minds because they kept seeing the back of each other's heads when neither of them was actually in the room. So I know how scary those things can be, and I know that they are no joke. I really hope this poster is safe and that she is not communicating with it or acknowledging it in any way anymore. But when I saw her video, I thought I would get on and make a little PSA that if you hear this, if you hear something mimicking your voice or mimicking a loved one in some way, don't acknowledge it. Ignore it. It's not there. If you ever hear someone call out to you when you know you're home alone, even if it sounds like a loved one, do not answer. Recently, I told y'all about Melody's Rose, who is a TikToker that went viral after hearing her name called out in a voice that sounded just like her own while home alone. But recently, there's been such an influx in these videos, what I'll call mimic videos, of people hearing their loved ones calling out for them when they aren't even home.
Making some chorizo for the hubby. Gotta make some extra this morning. Said he's gonna bring over his friend. Babe, are you home? What the heck? The door's still locked. Okay, anyways, I don't know what that was. I'm hearing things going crazy.
Clear as day, that sounded like a man's voice calling out to her multiple times. And it doesn't stop there.
What's up, y'all? It's Taco Tuesday, and I made tacos. What? Ren! What? Why you call me? You didn't just call me?
Literally sounds like her kid calling out to her. Kid says that they weren't saying anything. And in both of these, sure, they could have been just pranks by these people's loved ones. But there are videos like this all over TikTok recently, and I can't figure out why. Don't love the idea of people getting mass infected with mimics, but also fascinated by videos like this. This might be the scariest video I've ever seen on TikTok. TikTok user Mode Owens was just riding his dirt bike in the forest one day, just recording himself doing it, going on an adventure. And then he gets to a fork in the road. He's commenting on how this trail seems to go on forever, when suddenly the forest goes silent.
Holy crap, dude, this trail going on forever. It just got really quiet really fast.
He immediately hightailed it out of there, but that's what he saw.
No, thank you.
One of the kind of memes that was going around TikTok for a while was the Hat Man Benadryl meme. I don't know if you guys saw this, where people talked about like took too much Benadryl and I saw the Hat Man. The Hat Man is a sleep paralysis demon that some people claim to see, who is just a shadowy figure wearing a big hat. And somebody made this viral audio and I couldn't resist making a video to it.
I can't take Benadryl because I owe the Hat Man money. And I just don't want to see him.
Something else I really love talking about, and something I want to talk about more on my channel, is cults. I'm very, very, very fascinated by cults. I feel like I don't necessarily delve too far into the true crime genre. To be totally honest, I like watching it. I definitely watch true crime videos, but I don't know how people make them on a consistent basis. They upset me so much to make that I just can't. I've made like a handful over the course of my career, and I'll sometimes talk about like various cases and just small things on my TikTok, but I'm not usually someone who makes full-length videos on true crime. However, I think I could talk and talk and talk and talk and talk when it comes to cults. And there's one cult that I became very, very, very fascinated by after a specific documentary on HBO Max called The Way Down. Do you think God hates fat people? Gwen Shamblin sure did. Kidding. She just thought they weren't going to heaven. Born in 1955, Gwen Shamblin was an author and the founder of a Christian diet program known as the Way Down Workshop. Despite a literal master's degree in food and nutrition, as well as being a registered dietitian, Gwen Shamblin denied that genetics, metabolism, or any behaviors explained why some people were thin and others were overweight. When she started the Way Down Workshop, she suggested that you could pray the weight away. And boy, did these people pray the weight away. By the mid-1990s, the Way Down Workshop had proved to be so successful, it was being taught in over 5,000 churches in the United States alone, not to mention additional churches in Great Britain and Canada. But this wasn't enough for Gwen, and by 1999, her true intentions became clear. After Gwen said some troubling things denouncing the Holy Trinity, her Way Down Workshop was pulled out of churches all over the country. In 1999, Gwen founded her church, one she would refer to as the True Church, Remnant Fellowship. Former members of Remnant Fellowship Church would later come forward and say that Gwen expected all members of the church to be enrolled actively in Way Down Workshop classes, the cost of which came out of their own pockets, and she also encouraged them to give their church, the True Church, all their money. Members were expected to be thin and upheld to unrealistic weight loss standards. If a member of the church didn't lose enough weight quickly enough, they were told to fast, sometimes up to like 40 plus days at a time. It was one of Gwen's widely accepted beliefs that the faster you lost weight, the holier you were and the closer your connection was with God. She was so focused on this message, on this appearance being upheld, that she pretty much banned her own husband, David Shamblin, from ever attending the church because he got a little older and gained weight. Shocking. I know. Despite preaching for decades that divorce is unacceptable and not something you can do in her church, in 2018, Gwen would leave and divorce David Shamblin and marry Joe Lara, all within like the same month. Joe Lara was a former actor who had played Tarzan in a TV show adaptation of Tarzan called The Epic Adventures. And he would also be the person flying a plane to a MAGA convention with Gwen and several other high-up members of the church in tow when it went down. That day, 7 people would die, including Gwen and Joe, Jonathan and Jessica Walters, David and Jennifer Martin, as well as Brandon Hanna, who was the husband of Gwen's own daughter, Elizabeth Hanna. The life and lies of Gwen Shamblin run so incredibly deep. If you want me to do another video on this, I totally can. But in the meantime, I totally recommend this documentary, The Way Down, which is available to watch on Max and was produced by Chrissy Teigen. Isn't that wild? I didn't know that till like today. But that's a little bit about Gwen Shamblin and the infamous weight loss cult of the Way Down Workshop and Remnant Fellowship Church. That was one of my favorite TikToks I've ever made. I absolutely am fascinated by that story, by Gwen Shamblin, by everything that she did. She was a terrible person who did absolutely terrible things. There's so much I didn't even mention in that video that is just so graphic and terrible, and she had weird views on how to raise children. So I could always go more in depth on that in a video if you guys would like, but I did make a full-length video about the next TikTok I'm going to show you, which is all about the Living Word Fellowship.
I grew up next to a cult, and I'm about to show you the pamphlets and cassette tapes that they distributed to their members.
What you just watched was a snippet from a now viral TikTok coming from the user WWSCD, who grew up across the street from a cult known as the Living Word Fellowship. It was founded by this guy, John Robert Stevens, after he became disenchanted with his own denomination of Christianity when they denounced doomsday cults, essentially. Different like healing practices that were super popular in the 1950s. His denomination was like, yeah, we don't really support those. And he was like, well, I do. I'm gonna go make a church. Stevens was quoted as saying that the day of individuality is ending and that God did not want to deal with individual people. He wanted the hive mind. What you're looking at here is a campus and church retreat for the cult known as Shiloh. Shiloh was at one time home to more than 300 people who described their daily lives there as nothing short of slave labor. They worked 12 to 15-hour days, basically building the entire church retreat by hand. But Shiloh was made for something much more. What you're looking at was made to house more than 6,000 people in the event of the end of the world, which this cult believed was coming. We are just getting started. There's a full-length YouTube video up on my channel, youtube.com/LoeyLane now, so go watch, because it's a weird one. That also wound up being one of my favorite videos I've ever made in terms of a long-form video. I just really enjoyed researching and, I don't know, just delving into the world of these cults. I think they're horrifying and fascinating, and yeah, if you guys want more cult stuff, I guess let me know. One thing I thought that would be kind of fun was for you guys to see kind of the origins of my scary TikTok videos. Back in 2020, I started a little series on TikTok, and you're gonna be shocked when I say this, called Scary Shit That I Found on the Internet. It was supposed to be a little like, ooh, I don't curse on YouTube, I'll curse over here. It's like LoeyLane After Dark, baby. But this was back when TikToks could only be a minute long. So I would make little tiny bite-sized horror videos on topics that I could keep under 1 minute. And you might be familiar with some of these stories, but I still wanted to show you these videos nonetheless, and I guess kind of give you a look into where this all started for me. Hi, welcome to a series I am starting here on TikTok called Scary Shit I Found on the Internet. I thought today was the perfect day to talk about the Orlando account. The Orlando account has now changed their username and @ but they started out stopped making videos about a week ago. The real story here lies in the captions of these videos, however, which are all written in binary code. And when you translate this code, you get messages such as victims and no accident. Sometimes the video sounds are even in Morse code, revealing even creepier stuff, such as one video that said, "The truth will be out soon. They are unidentifiable. They communicate. They are coming." The creepy contents of this account eventually lead to the missing Malaysian Flight 370, a plane that went missing over 6 years ago. We even get one video with coordinates that, when plugged into Google Earth, show us a crashed plane in the middle of the Cambodian forest. Today we're talking about the Go for Bo TikTok account, and this was a totally normal TikTok account until June 2nd of this year. That's when the user posted the salt and ice challenge, which is exactly as it sounds, when somebody puts salt and ice on their skin. This is super dangerous, so the person did it on a piece of meat. That wasn't that startling, but in the second video, Bo puts the salt and ice on pig skin and heavily emphasizes that it is pig skin, almost as if it's not pig skin. He also starts heavily promoting the coldest water bottle on his account, which seems innocent enough until it just isn't. On his third rendition of the salt and ice challenge, we begin hearing whispers in the background of the videos, such as "please help me" and "where am I?" There are also hidden messages in this video, such as "there's blood in the bottle." This series is seemingly now over, but if you want to truly deep dive into it, I highly recommend T Wander's account. She's super detailed, and I'll have her linked in the description box down below. Blankroomsoup.avi is a YouTube video that went viral years and years ago. This bizarre video opens with a man eating soup in a room by himself, when suddenly he's joined by a costumed character who then begins rubbing his back and comforting him. The man begins to panic at this point, and another person in the same costume joins and begins consoling him as well. People have theorized about this video for years, saying it's a dark web video or potentially a video of somebody eating a human body. It turns out that the character shown in this clip is named Ray Ray, and the Daily Motion account for Ray Ray actually posted this clip titled as "Freaky Soup Guy." They captioned it, "A clip of people who look like us doing something to someone that we would never do. We promise." This is a long one, so I'll see you in part 2. Part 2 of my Scary Shit I Found on the Internet episode covering blankroomsoup.avi. So it turns out that the character Ray Ray that was comforting the man eating the soup in the first video is a character that belongs to someone named Raymond Percy. And what's crazy is Raymond has worked at Disney on projects such as Frozen and Wreck-It Ralph. Ray Ray was an early project of Raymond's, and he used to perform at clubs all over LA. One night, he and his team returned to their RV after completing a show in Los Angeles to find that it had been broken into and most of the costumes and props were stolen. 1 week later, Raven received an email with this video attached with no explanation as to what it is or why it was sent to him. Thinking it was strange, he posted it online, and the rest is history. Today we're going to talk about a YouTube account called Hi, Mary, which follows the life of a girl named Mary who wakes up one day alone in her family home. But something's not quite right. She's alone in the house and has no way of reaching the outside world. The phones don't work. She can't open any of the windows or doors. At night, however, the house becomes even more abnormal. Mary's home is haunted by a myriad of demons and monsters, including Maria, the woman who appears every time that Mary looks in the mirror, or the twitching woman in black who creeps through the darkness of the house looking for Mary. I have a whole YouTube video about this if you guys want to check it out, but Hi, Mary is a terrifying, highly detailed alternate reality game series that is now completed on YouTube, and I highly recommend binge watching it. I love it. I look like a baby, which is kind of scary because it was only 4 years ago. This one, however, is really interesting to me. This is one of the first videos, I think it is the first video that I ever talked about Kelsey Davies in. Kelsey is now a friend of mine and somebody who I really admire in the paranormal space, and you guys probably know Kelsey for her haunted doll Lola. But in this TikTok, I explored for the first time one of Kelsey's videos with Lola and all of the paranormal activity that came with her. TikTok user Kelsey Davies filmed a video of herself sleeping next to her haunted doll overnight, and it left a lot of questions to be answered. I had so many tags on this video of a girl who filmed herself sleeping at night with her haunted doll. In this video, which is sped up to save time, we see in one clip that is slowed down that the doll moves slightly on its own. When this happens, Kelsey's cat then goes to investigate the doll. Almost immediately after, her other cat joins it on the bed, and they begin sniffing the doll as if it's like a real person. Now, the cats took a very keen interest in the doll, but Kelsey shoos them off the bed, and that's when she slowly lifts her hand, as though she's reaching for something before the video cuts out. What did you guys think of this one? Is the doll truly haunted, or did the kitties just get spooked in the night? I thought it would be fun to go through my most popular scary TikToks with you. The first one being the absolutely iconic Reddit lamp guy post. One in which I titled a video, "When I'm 10 years into a happy marriage with 2 kids and I realize the living room lamp doesn't look right." This was a TikTok that did, just insanely well for me. It got tens of millions of views across the internet. And it was crazy how many people knew what I was talking about from that sentence alone. But there were a lot of people who didn't know. So I did make a follow-up TikTok talking about the Reddit lamp guy story and going into detail for anybody who is unfamiliar. I'm so glad that video found Reddit lamp guy TikTok. I was a little worried it was too niche, but for those of you who haven't heard the story, this video is for you. The original Reddit post was made on a throwaway account like 12 or 13 years ago at this point and was deleted pretty shortly after it was posted. Originally, it was a comment left to this post. "Have you ever felt a deep personal connection to a person you met in a dream, only to wake up feeling terrible because you realized they never existed?" OP opens the post by saying he was in his final semester at college when he was involved in what we'll say was an accident for TikTok purposes, but it left him unconscious on the ground, knocked out for several minutes. During those several minutes, he lived a completely separate parallel life. He met a beautiful woman, pursued her for months until she agreed to go out with him, and then eventually they got married and had a daughter. Shortly after this as well, they also had a son. This guy loved his wife, loved his family, and everything was perfect until the lamp sent it all tumbling down. One day while sitting on the couch, I noticed that the perspective of the lamp was odd, like inverted. It was still in 3D, but just wrong. I was transfixed. I couldn't look away from it. The next morning I didn't go to work. Something was just not right about that lamp. The man's wife, after days of him sitting motionless on the couch and just staring at the lamp, took their children to her mother's, and it's once they left the house that the man realized his entire life had not been real. Then he woke up, still on the sidewalk, surrounded by paramedics, and incredibly confused about what had just happened. He says he went on to grieve his family as if they were completely real. He spent a lot of time really depressed and confused, and he said he still sees his son sometimes out of the corner of his eye, forever 5 years old, and he can never hear what his son is saying. So that's the Reddit lamp guy story. Guy gets knocked out for a couple of minutes on the sidewalk, lives a full, beautiful, happy life with a wife and his family during the couple of minutes he's knocked out, and is tormented and haunted by it to this very day. Nobody knows where he is now because he deleted his account, deleted the post, deleted it all. But to this day, this is a story that sticks with me. Another one of my most popular TikToks was on the SpongeBob television hijack in 2005. Have y'all seen that clip from the 2005 SpongeBob hijacking that is going viral right now on TikTok? You know the one, right? Where somebody hijacked Nickelodeon in the middle of the episode Gary Takes a Bath? If not, let me remind you. The clip starts off with Gary staring at a clock on the wall, seemingly nervous for bath time and waiting for SpongeBob to come home. But when he does, something is off.
You will understand. You will understand.
After this happened, the cartoon cut completely, and whoever the hijacker was started to say some really disturbing things. We will be friends once more, undeterred by all we've been through. And regardless of all that separated us, all that I'm longing for is an old friend. See you soon, Jerry. Sorry, Jerry. I don't know what you did, but I'm gonna see you soon. To Nicole and Anthony, I'm sorry. I miss you. I want to hear your funny laugh again. I want to stop hearing your screaming at night. When I see you at the edge of my bed and threaten that someone I know would hurt us. Thank you. You are not welcome. You are sure not welcome. Now this video comes from the TikTok user Jackie Rooney 2011. And while no, this is not a real life Nickelodeon hijacking, it's a really cool piece of analog horror that I wanted to share with all of you. There have been very real TV hijackings in the past with quite dark backstories, so if you ever want me to talk about those, let me know. But what do you think of this? I thought it was a really cool piece of horror content that I wanted to share with all of you. This one always cracks me up because it's done so well for me, but I realize after this video, people don't like a hook. They want you to tell them like up front if something is real or not. And so the comments are always just people like, you made me believe this for a minute before they realized it was like an ARG, you know what I mean? Like it was like analog horror. But to this day, it's maybe my most popular, my most watched TikTok ever. I have showed you some scary stuff I found on the internet, but Not Your Normal Kids Show is something else. The first episode, which was posted to BB Key's TikTok account earlier this year, might seem harmless at first. But oh my god, it gets so weird. Watch just this clip alone.
Thank you, tall man.
You did it. Closed the curtains completely. Why don't you open the door? Open the door.
Oops, wrong number.
Later on in the video, our main character gets hungry and has a bowl of grapes. Now this is what I mean when I say I'm having girl dinner. There's also a really interesting like through line from these videos to the poster's other content. Like how when the tall man goes missing from Not Your Normal Kids Show, he shows up in the poster's actual home. What is this show? Let me know if I should go over episodes 2 and 3. My Roman Empire is people posting about the secret doors and hidden passageways and tunnels and crawl spaces that they find in their homes while renovating on TikTok. It happens more often than you'd think, but this video is creepier than all the others. During renovations, this poster found a secret door behind a wall. Now, after going through all of the effort to finally get inside of this door, he found this. But this wasn't gonna stop him. Alarmingly, the poster did not just find a little crawl space behind that door, but an entire room, complete with almost what looks like a bench or a sofa or something, and a very clean looking comforter on top of that. Pay attention to the right-hand side of the door frame in this clip, as some people think you can see somebody peeking out at him from behind it as well. And at the end of the clip, he spots what looks like a person sitting on the edge of a bed. Now it doesn't stop there, because the poster went back into the area, like fully climbed over the brick wall to get into this room, only to discover it wasn't just a lone room he had found behind a hidden door in his house. It was an entire second home. We're talking bathroom, kitchen, bedrooms. It's an entire house. A lot of people were like, you fully just broke into someone's home here, but I disagree. I do obviously think this is a second home, but I think it's been abandoned, and those people that the poster saw in his last video were either squatters or something else. And while these videos in particular are pretty creepy, I'm telling you, this is not an isolated experience. People all over TikTok post about what they'll find in their homes while renovating, and so often it's hidden doors, hidden tunnels, like entire separate living spaces. It's so crazy to me, but it's becoming so common, yet it never creeps me out any less. My husband saw me standing in the corner of the room when I wasn't even on the same floor of the house as him. You guys have got to see this right over there. Yep, standing right over there. Yep, there. Oh, there she is. Yeah, that is not me. And by me, I mean the original poster of this video, Morg's Hauntings. Morg is from the Appalachian Mountains, and this is not the first time that she has posted what seems to be something mimicking her.
I'm freezing. Pretty. Oh, God. I'm a spell.
What'd you say?
I said, oh, God. Why?
another time, she even caught her own voice calling out to her while home alone.
I think that is one of the creepiest things that I have ever caught on camera and that I have ever experienced in my life.
Morg has posted so much of her haunting. Whatever this is has also mimicked her husband and showed up as him when he isn't around. The whole thing is terrifying, but you'll have to check out Morg if you want to see the rest of her haunting.
We're the reason you should not come to Alaska. Hello, my name is Urban. I am one of the Ursenrot people. We live deep in the mountains of Yupik territory.
Y'all, this video popped up for me at like 2 a.m. and scared the bejesus out of me. But you know me, I can't help myself. So let's talk about the Ursenrot people. They originate from Yupik stories and traditions that describe them as small, human-like creatures. Some stories suggest that they exist in almost like pocket dimensions outside of our own and can come and go from our reality as needed. While some people believe that the Ursenrot are good luck, others tell stories about abductions in which the Ursenrot people will take them and whisk them away into underground caves and lairs. Some who have encountered the Ursenrot people say that they can be found hunting, gathering, fishing, and not really posing a threat. But I was curious about those stories in which people claimed to be kidnapped by them. And I found a story of one such case posted to the Alaska Paranormal Forum by Jesse Desmond. According to the story, a man encountered a young boy while he was out hunting birds. This is truly in the middle of nowhere, like hours outside of the closest town. And he encounters this little boy and asks him, "Where's your dad? Where are your parents?" And the little boy just cried and cried and cried and said, "I don't know." The man also noticed that there were no footsteps in the snow around the child either, almost like he had just appeared there. The man took the boy back to his village, gave him a meal, and after that he started to open up about the little people that he had met. The boy had been brought into the mountains by these little people who he met, and among them he also met another young girl who had been missing for 40 years. For whatever reason, the Ursenrot people decided to let this little boy go, and that was when the man found him. So it sounds like the kid was on their good side, but here's what this video says happens if you are not on their good side.
We will lure you off the pathway with strange sounds until they are completely lost. Then we will appear and offer you help, and if you accept, it will be the biggest mistake you ever make. We will take you deeper into the bush and tie you up in a tree. Then we will throw rocks at you, poke you, laugh at you, and leave you to the wild wolves and bears to return you to Mother Nature. So if you're ever in Yupik territory, be respectful and do not disturb our lands.
This video from a haunted house that was captured on TikTok will never fail to freak me out. This all starts off in 2020 with TikTok user Sam, I guess. She sets out trying to catch the ghosts in her house on camera, which are very, very active. And she ends up seeing some creepy stuff.
Do you think you could do it now?
She goes on to prove that nothing is behind the door, nobody's there. And that is creepy. It happened on command, but it gets so much scarier in these videos. Sam is completely home alone one day when this happens.
Hearing like all of this. You hear that? I don't know where it's coming from, and I've looked everywhere. I don't know where the sound is coming from. God.
In the comments, people were literally saying you can see the door shaking as something is pounding on it and nothing is in there. Over the years, Sam has continued to capture paranormal footage on TikTok. And she's not the only one experiencing this haunting.
Are you guys tapping on something out here?
Oh, we thought that was you.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, shh. Where is it?
Yeah, it sounds like it's coming from back here.
The shower?
The way that the tapping gets faster when they enter the bathroom and then stops as soon as they open the shower door too is so freaky to me. Sam's paranormal experiences are terrifying to say the least, and she still posts about them to this day. No, because the paranormal TikTok I'm gonna show you today would send me into orbit if it happened in my home. We've talked about Win McPix before, but he's been documenting a shadow person who lives in his house since like 2020. But somehow, this is like his scariest video to date. He hears someone pounding on the door in the middle of the night, and when he goes to investigate, he finds something terrifying.
Leave. Stop. You gotta go. Shh, 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 shh. Calm down. What are you? Stop.
The second he walks away, it starts again, and then he hears it again in broad daylight, but obviously, like, nothing is there then. To be honest, the scariest part of the whole video is the fact that he opened the door to whatever was outside, pounding on it, maybe letting it in. Welcome back to the scary side of TikTok. Want to see something creepy? This user has been posting videos from inside of an abandoned industrial park in China, and he found something really weird. Pay attention to the chair.
Wait. What the fuck?
I don't know who that is, but if I ever saw that in an abandoned building, I would note my way out of there so fast you couldn't even catch me, actually. In all of their other videos, they never saw that guy again or anything that even looked like him. What do you think it was? Y'all, I think I'm having a glitch in the Matrix because there is no way this Mandela effect was real a couple of years ago. Growing up, my mom was a Raisin Bran girly. She loved Raisin Bran. That was her cereal of choice. We always had it in the house. I remember what these boxes look like, right? And this is the new design for the little sun that goes on the Raisin Bran boxes. And when I saw his new design, I was like, why did they take away his sunglasses? Like, his sunglasses were so iconic. Oh, you need a refresher? You don't remember what they look like? It was like this. It was exactly like this. Except it wasn't. Because the Raisin Bran sun that was always on the boxes never had sunglasses. I don't know that man. That man was not in my childhood home. But he was. He was there all the time because I always had a box of Raisin Bran in the cupboard. I feel like everybody has that one Mandela effect that really, really gets to them. And this has got to be mine because I know what the Raisin Bran boxes look like, okay? I know. Let me know down below which Mandela effect messes with you the most. I'm actually really, really curious. This is mine. Everyone thinks this TikToker caught a glitch in the Matrix on a Ring camera. Alicia's grandmother passed away recently, and while cleaning out her home, her mother discovered something strange.
So this is the first step. Here's my mum leaving my house. This is where I'm having to and she doesn't come back until the next morning, so there's nothing on the floor. There's nothing in sight. Specifically at the door, there's nothing left there. So my mum leaves, doesn't come back, and nobody else comes in the house. This is in the next morning. My mum is so confused because there's a gift bag left at the door. Nobody has had access to this house. The Ring camera didn't pick up any motion in between my mum leaving and my mum arriving back with any person detected.
She also shows the exact moment where the bag just appears on the floor with no cuts, no nothing. Like, watch this. I think my universe is broken. Can someone come pick us up? Sometimes I make scary TikToks on topics that I know would not necessarily fit anywhere into a full video. And this is one of them, talking about the origins of one of the scariest photos on the internet. Can I show you the scariest photo on the internet? It might not be what you expect. In 2010, a story called The Russian Sleep Experiment started to circulate the web, and this photo was circulating with the story at the time, supposedly taken of one of the victims of the Russian sleep experiment. Ironically enough, this image kept me up at night when I was convinced that the Russian sleep experiment was a real thing and not just a creepypasta. But even knowing the truth, I've always thought that this image was terrifying. And recently, I actually found out where it comes from. I made this discovery while watching Joshua Harris, aka Mr. Halloween Junkie's TikToks. Now, he talks a lot about Halloween animatronics, specifically ones from Spirit Halloween. But I'm watching one of his videos about the scariest Spirit Halloween animatronics ever, and who do I see but Mr. Russian Sleep Experiment himself. This is Spasm. Spasm is an animatronic created by Morbid Industries and sold at Spirit Halloween in 2008. I cannot believe how afraid I was of this man. I was terrified of this man. This animatronic is apparently very hard to find now and very expensive if you do find him. So when I saw that this TikToker had found his Spasm and took him on a joyride, it just warmed my little heart. Moral of the story here, I guess, is that sometimes your fears turn out to be not as bad as you thought they were. And in some cases, they're even just a little guy. Like, where else would I put that? You know what I mean? It was really just a story for a TikTok, for a 90-second little TikTok. Another example of that was the My Little Pony infection videos. I made one TikTok about them and didn't end up getting into it before the trend kind of died off, so I never made a full-length video. Hey, I love when you guys tag me in scary stuff to talk about in my YouTube videos. But quick question, no pressure here. What the is what you see done. In all seriousness, I do want to talk about the My Little Pony infection videos because they're getting millions of views. Like, these videos are going so outside of the My Little Pony fandom, but I don't understand. Can you please help me? Can you please help me? I'm old. I don't get it. Explain the trend, please. I don't understand why they're turning into trees. Thank you in advance. Also, the creator, Chloe, that I just showed those videos from, they have like really creepy analog horror videos of My Little Pony characters, so check them out. Okay, bye. Also, though, recently I've started telling my own scary stories on TikTok, okay? There have been a couple of trends going around where I have told my own scary stories. I'm actually filming another one tonight, so maybe go check out my TikTok account. But yeah, I've told some of my own scary stories and they're pretty long, so I'm gonna let you listen to those. I just realized some of you don't know about my 100-year-old house and the ghost who came with it, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my resident house ghost, Paul, today. My house was built in the 1920s. She is such a beaut. I love her so dearly. And as soon as I moved in here, I definitely felt an energy, but I have experienced ghosts in pretty much most of the places I've lived in over the course of my life. So I try to be a little bit skeptical now. Sometimes I think that like I am the problem, I'm the danger, like I'm attracting this energy. He was pretty hard to ignore though. I would hear somebody like stomping around the house, like not like angry stomping, but like getting from place to place, almost like somebody was kind of like walking fast with a purpose. Lights would turn off and on their own. I was seeing like shadows out of the corner of my eye. So I decided one night, not on camera or anything, just to set up a spirit box and see if I got any communication. And I asked who it was, and the guy said over the spirit box, his name was Paul. And I said, Paul, is there anything I can do for you? Like, do you need anything from me? I'm seeing you a lot here. And he responded with one simple word, that being milk. He asked for milk. And so I poured Paul a shot glass full of almond milk that night. And then I had a dream about a man sitting in my kitchen in a big hat. I woke up, and ever since that day, I've been aware of Paul. Paul has been aware of me. But mostly I think he just wants to make sure the house is like good. I think he used to live here. I think he really cares about the house. He wants it kept clean. He wants it safe. When I've had like experiences in the past where things have broken, for example, I like had a toilet in the house that flood. It was awful. And I'm like trying at 2 a.m. to figure out where in the hell the water valve shut off is. And I hear like a tap on the window and see something outside. And I'm like, who the hell is that? I go outside, and where I had heard this, where I had seen something flash, was exactly where the water shut off was. Things like that. When I'm not at the house, like when I'm out of town and friends are like sitting the house for me, they'll see a man like walking around. They'll hear him just walking through the house. They'll see, like they'll be outside with the dogs in my backyard and they'll see somebody like turning off and on the lights, or it'll be the middle of the night and somebody will flush a toilet and they'll go through the whole house and nobody's ever here. I don't really communicate with Paul. I don't experience paranormal activity with him on a day-to-day. He very much so just feels like a guardian of my house. He just feels like he's here to take care of things, and by association I'm taking care of too. I really get the feeling that he could kind of like take or leave me. I don't think he cares much about me. I think it's just that like I'm an extension of this house right now, and if I do like feel an energy or if I do have experiences, it's either just him kind of doing like a routine check of the house, or something is not right. Like I've said, like I've had experiences in the past where it almost feels like he's helped me through crises with this house because it's so old. It's weird. It literally feels like I have a roommate a lot of the times. I don't always feel like I live alone because I just know that Paul's always here too. And he's great. I love him. I think he's awesome. I don't think, you know, after I move away from this house, whenever I do, I don't think like he'll come with me or anything like that. But as I've experienced his energy here, he seems really nice and lovely. I don't know too much about him or his past. I haven't really pressed. I wasn't getting much answer when I tried in the past. I just don't think he really cares about me. Not in a bad way. I just think he's like, I live here. If you take care of the house, you're cool. You know, if you're keeping it clean, if you're keeping stuff tidy and you're, you know, making sure the house is left standing, like you're fine with me. So if you have any questions about Paul, leave them down below. I'll try to answer them. I think he's a really, really interesting entity. When I have talked to him and the few times I have in the past, like he's kind of funny and quick and dry, and I don't know much about him. I don't know how old he is. I don't know where he's from. I don't know when he lived here, but maybe if he ever feels up to it, I could find out. Yeah, leave me your comments about Paul the house ghost. I just wanted to tell you his story. I don't know if I'm having a glitch in the matrix or if this was just a crazy lucid dream or if it's absolutely nothing. But I think I met my soulmate last night in my dream, and it's genuinely one of the weirdest things that's ever happened to me, so I'm gonna tell you about it. I have always had some funky dreams, and I can typically remember my dreams pretty well. If I write them down, I can remember them much better, like right when I wake up. And I've been like that my whole life, but I wouldn't say I'm a lucid dreamer. In the moment in my dreams, I'm not conscious that I'm dreaming. You know what I mean? But last night I had a dream that I have not stopped thinking about once. And in the dream, I woke up and I was in this all white room, all white, floor to ceiling. I was in a single chair in the middle of the room, and it was really, really, really bright. No doors, no windows, no nothing. And I knew for some reason that I was waiting on something. I wasn't like freaked out. I didn't get up out of the chair. I knew that I was waiting. And as I was sitting there, suddenly a door opens up like out of this wall, like a hidden door. And this woman walks into the room with a clipboard. And the woman walks up to me and she's like, okay, are you ready? And I say, for what? What am I ready for? Like, what are we doing? And she says to find your soulmate. And I'm just looking at her like, find my soulmate? What do you mean? And she tells me that I am in the place where I will choose like my future partner, like my soulmate, like my person in life. And I was already aware that I was dreaming. I already, like within this first minute of interacting with this woman, being in this all white room, I knew I was dreaming. So she's telling me this. She says, you know, you're going to go out there and in your room, in the room that you've been assigned, everybody in this room is a potential match for a soulmate, for you, for everybody, basically. Like everyone in this room is compatible with each other in some way. Well, that doesn't make any sense because I'm in a dream right now. So why would I dream that I'm choosing my soulmate? And she just looks at me like I'm stupid. And she's like, because you've been chosen, because it's your turn to find your soulmate. And if you don't find them today, it's going to be a while before you're brought back to this reality. And I'm asking her, like, do you need to know more about me? Are you sure all of these people are potentially my soulmate? Because she kind of instilled this fear in me that if I didn't find my soulmate that day, it was going to be a while before I could come back to this place to do it again. So I'm like, what do you need? Do you need to know like what I'm looking for, what my type is, my sexuality? Like, what do you need to know? And she's like, no, we know everything about you. She holds up this clipboard that she has in her hand. And she's like, I have your file right here. I know everything you like. I know everything you will like. I know exactly what you need in a soulmate. And all of these people are a potential match for you. And I can't argue with that. I don't know what the hell's going on. So she just takes me back to this room and I enter, like we basically go through this really long hallway and it's all white and I can't see anything but white. And then suddenly we go into this room and in the room, it's like this big, I don't know how to explain it. It almost was like a courtroom, but also a lounge of some kind. There was somebody in the middle who you would go to when you decided who your soulmate was. The two of you would go up. She would like stamp your documents for you. And then you were both allowed to leave. But around her were all of these like benches and tables. And there were people all over this room. And in the room, there were men, there were women, there was like everybody, anybody that I would ever be attracted to. Everybody was physically my type. But I talked to people through the room and we would have a conversation. And within like the first minute of talking to anyone, I would just know like, oh no, you're not it. Like nothing against you, you're lovely, but you're not what I'm looking for. And they would always know too, like immediately. And I remember looking at the clock when I got into the room and it was 9 a.m. And I don't know what I would even call her, the woman who met me in that big white room, she said I had until 5 p.m. to find my soulmate. So I'm supposed to sit here for a full, what is that? 8 hours. I'm supposed to sit there for 8 hours and hopefully speed date my way through a room of people and find my soulmate. But here's the catch, okay, is they are all also each other's soulmates. Like everybody is compatible. So people around the room were like partnering up, like they were pairing up. They were going up to this judge lady in the center of the room and saying, okay, I want this person as my soulmate. She would stamp a piece of paper for them. They would walk out of the room and there was like an outside world outside of this room. I could see trees and grass and stuff. But when they walked out of the room, they would disappear. And I asked the judge lady, I don't know what else to call her. I was like, where are these people going? Like, I don't see them when they walk out of the room. It's kind of scaring me. Like, is something bad gonna happen to me? Am I gonna disappear? And she says, no, they just leave this reality. There's no reason for them to be here anymore. And I'm talking to people in this room and nobody is quite clicking with me. Like nobody feels right. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to find a soulmate by 5 p.m. Are you kidding me? Like I'm not vibing with anybody. All of these people, they're getting their soulmates and they're leaving. And I'm going to be here until 5 p.m. And then I'm not going to get to come back and I'm going to be without my soulmate. And then I met this guy. I started talking to this guy. And within the first minute of talking to him, I was like, oh, I know you. Like, I know you, but I didn't know him. I have no idea who he was. I know exactly what he looks like. I'm not going to say that because I don't know. It feels weird, but I just like, it was like, I recognized him the minute that I saw him and we're talking. And within the first 10 minutes of me talking to this man, he says, do you want to be my soulmate? Like, I think you're my soulmate. Do you want to be my soulmate? And my ass is so afraid of commitment, even in my dreams, that I'm like, whoa there, buddy. Like that's kind of a big decision to make, like right off the bat, right? And so I tell him like, we should just talk more. We should get to know each other more, whatever. As we're talking, the time just starts to fly by and I'm like, I like am in love with this man. I don't know how else to explain it. Like his head is in my lap. We're just talking and talking and talking and sitting in this room and we're watching all of the people around us get partnered up and go off with their soulmate. And I don't give a shit. Like I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care because you're here and I want to talk to you. So I keep talking to this guy. And I'm like, I'm gonna level with you, man. This scares the shit out of me. Like, I don't like this. I don't like choosing my soulmate. I don't even know you. How am I gonna find you? And he was like, you just have to trust me. Like, you just have to trust me that I will find you. And I'm like, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. If you're gonna be my soulmate, I need to know your name. And he tells me his name. And it just comes out as like, you know, in like Peanuts when the parents talk and it's like, wow, wow, you know, like he says something and it like goes right in my ear. And I immediately know I can't understand him because that's not what's supposed to happen. I'm not supposed to know his name like this. So I say, okay, I don't know your name. What's your number? He gives me a number. I can't remember it. Of course, there's nowhere to write it down. There's nowhere to keep it, whatever. And he's so calm about this whole thing that I ask him, like, are you not freaked out by this? Does this not scare you? And he just goes, no, because I know you. I literally have seen our entire lives together. I choose you. You can choose me if you want to, but if I'm walking out of here with anybody, it's going to be you. Do you want to be my soulmate? I was like, yeah, I do want to be your soulmate. I like you. And I'm making jokes with him. Like, bro, are you sure you want to be my soulmate? I can be a little crazy. And he's like, oh, I know. I've already seen it. You're fine. I can handle you. I know what to do with you. Sir? I agree to be a soulmate. This lady, we go up to her. We give her these papers that I guess we had in our pockets. She stamps them and she says, you can go. The two of us walk out and we're in this like waiting room area. We're in just this waiting room area and it's just the two of us. And I know that like we're about to leave this reality. We're going to wake up. And I'm asking him, how am I going to find you? Like, I don't even know your name. I don't have your number. I know what you look like. I could recognize you if I saw you in the street, but how am I going to find you? And he was just so chill. He was like, I will find you. You have to stop worrying about this. This is your lesson. You have to be in control of everything. So you can't be in control of this. I always run from everything. This is what he's saying. So I'm not going to run from this. I have to find you. I have to chase you. And I was just like, okay, love ya. See you later, I guess. I hugged him and then I woke up. So I just wanted to tell you about it. Yeah, if you've ever had a dream like this, or I don't know, if you just think I'm crazy, let me know down below. I just really wanted to tell you about this experience. And if you're my soulmate, hit me up because you are so fine.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
I've been thinking about this story so much with baby reindeer going viral, but this is my most unexplainable ghost story, I think, and it happened on my 16th birthday. I grew up in an incredibly haunted farmhouse in the middle of nowhere in Georgia. Now, at this point, I'd probably been living there for like 3-ish years, and I was really used to the paranormal activity in the house, but recently it had started taking a turn for the kind of darker and more sinister. For example, around this time, my brother and I both had an experience where we both heard our dad scream our respective names. At the same time, we both come running out of our rooms, go dashing to my dad's bedroom. Our dad had not called us. He has no idea what we're talking about. And then later when we're talking about it, we both realized we had each heard him call our name. Like I had heard him call mine. My brother had heard him call his. On my 16th birthday, we went to Six Flags over Georgia. I had a small group of my friends and I, my little brother, my family, we all went to Six Flags, right? After our day at Six Flags, one of my friends was going to stay the night. We wound up making some snacks, we watched some movies, and we settled in for the night. We had been riding roller coasters all day, eating candy, and my little brother was wired. He would have been like 12 at this time, and he was just annoying the ever-living crap out of my friend and I. So I ended up locking my bedroom door to completely close him out. I had my bed kind of in a corner of this room, pressed against one door that came out to a hallway kind of over into the foyer area, like the front door. And then the other door was like the door that I would use to actually go in and out. It wasn't blocked by furniture. And that was the one that I locked. But the other door was still inaccessible because it was blocked by furniture on the other side. So there was no way in and out of this room all night. In the middle of the night, somebody shakes me awake. I physically feel like somebody is like shaking my body. I wake up, I look around, I think it's my friend waking me up, but she's still fast asleep next to me. I'm sleeping like against the wall. Again, my bed is sort of in the corner. She's sleeping on the side that's like closest to the door that actually opens into my bedroom. I'm looking around the room trying to figure out what's happened when I notice something on the floor staring up at me. My dad was a teacher and he often got little gifts from his students. One of those was a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer plushie. I fell in love with this plushie. He wound up giving it to me. I just had it in my bedroom as a decor piece. I had it on my nightstand, which was at the foot of my bed because I had arranged my room so strangely. And when you press this plushie's ear, it would light up and it would dance and it would sing a little song. And I looked down in the middle of the night and somehow this Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer plush has gone from the foot of my bed on the opposite end of the room in a perfectly stationary place to now sitting directly beneath the bed, staring up at us sleeping. And as I'm looking at it, wondering, how in the hell did that get there? It goes off. I screamed. I screamed at the top of my lungs, which woke up my friend who also screamed. And then my brother came running to the door, tried to open it, but remember, it's locked. I unlocked the door, I let my brother in, and all three of us are just sitting there staring at the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer plushie, which has now just gone completely silent, and it doesn't do it again. My brother went to the living room, put it in there, and it didn't go off again for the rest of the night. I will never be able to get the image of that toy looking up at me out of my head. I cannot explain it to you, but the way that it was positioned, the way that it was sitting on the floor, staring up at where we were sleeping, it was like parallel with our faces. But it's just one of those things where I know it wasn't there when I went to sleep. I know exactly where that plushie was when I went to bed. And from there, the paranormal activity just got worse and worse and worse.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
When I was around 13 years old, my family and I moved to a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere in Georgia. And when I say the middle of nowhere, I really mean the middle of nowhere. The closest town was around 30 minutes away, and even that was pretty tiny. We're talking like one restaurant, a very small grocery store, a gas station. If you want to go to the next like city, you're looking at an hour plus. The very first night that we spent in this house, it was raining. There was like a storm outside and I couldn't sleep. So I went from my bedroom to go to the kitchen to go get a glass of water, and there was lightning outside. And during like one of the bolts of lightning, I looked outside onto the porch and I saw a little girl with a blue dress on, just standing there staring at me. I literally ran back to my room. I don't know how I slept that night. I told my parents the next day. They didn't believe me, and that began a 5-year-long paranormal experience that I am still talking about well over a decade later. A little bit about the house. It was situated over a mine that had collapsed decades prior. It was less than a quarter of a mile away from Native American burial ground that had been completely torn up and built on top of. It was across the street from a century that dated back to like the 1700s. It started off really small. A lot of stuff would happen with my bedroom closet specifically. I would wake up all the time and it would look like somebody had like rummaged through my closet. Clothes would be all over the place. I would have like stuffed animals and stuff that looked like somebody had been moving them or playing with them or something. And I had a childhood friend, one of my best friends, who was very, very, very psychic. I mean, I've just never known anyone in my life to this day who could see spirits like that, who like knew paranormal stuff like she did. And she told me that it was a little girl's spirit who lived in my house, and that she just wanted to play with my toys, and that if I just gave her more toys in the closet, that I would be giving her permission to play with them, and that she should be happy, and that she would probably leave my stuff alone. And it seemed like it worked for a while. I would always find these toys in my closet like completely messed up all over the place. Like it really did look like a kid was playing with them. I've been living in this house for about 2-ish years. I'm probably like a sophomore in high school, when suddenly the paranormal activity in the house just changed. It just got really, really, really bad. And I don't mean like things just happened more. I mean that things got really violent. I was having night terrors 24/7. I would wake up and see what looked like this like tall, shadowy man standing at the end of my bed. I had these like light up hoodies from Walmart in my closet. And I remember being woken up at like 3 a.m. one night and looking in my closet and seeing one hoodie light up at one end of the closet and then the other, and then one and then the other. Literally like somebody was like pacing back and forth in my closet. And it wasn't a cat. It wasn't anything like that. It just made me feel sick to my stomach. The activity got so bad that my friends would no longer come to my house. I remember one of my best friends was taking a shower and she was like, "Why did you come into the bathroom and start singing to me? That was so weird and you know it. Like that was just so creepy. Why wouldn't you just knock?" And I was like, "Huh? Why would I do that?" And she was like, "I don't know, but I heard you do it. You came into the bathroom and you were singing to me." I very clearly had not done that. You could never sleep through the night at this house. You would always wake up to feel like something was staring at you, just feeling so uneasy. And the worst of it was when one day I came into my room and looked in my closet to find that it looked like somebody had ransacked my closet. There was stuff strewn everywhere. Clothes on the floor. It literally looked like somebody had gone through my closet and torn everything off of the shelves. I go next door to my little brother's room and I'm like, "Why the hell did you do that to my closet?" And he's like, "Why did I do what to your closet?" And I'm like, "You know what you did. You went in there and you destroyed my closet." He's sitting there arguing with me. He's like, "I didn't do anything." I'm so mad I don't even argue with him. I just go back to my room to go clean up my closet that I know he just destroyed. And as I'm passing by my dresser, I have this little like boob tube TV. This is back when TVs had a lot of girth to them, okay? They were quite large. Even though it was probably only a 14-inch TV, it was pretty heavy. And as I'm walking by my dresser to get into my closet, suddenly, out of nowhere, this TV comes flying off the dresser, hits me in the hip so hard I stumble and fall to the floor, and the TV comes crashing down beside me. It was so loud, my brother came running in and he's like, "What happened? What's wrong?" I'm just sobbing on the floor. I like can't even talk. After that point as well, that TV acted really weird. I wish I had a photo or something to show you, but it would always play subtitles no matter what after that point. And the subtitles were never related to what was happening on TV. And sometimes they were very strange words. Like it would be saying like heaven and hell and stuff on like SpongeBob SquarePants. There are so many stories I left out, so let me know if you want a part 2, but that is my scariest ghost story. That sounds unbelievable, but is absolutely true. This is another bite-sized piece of horror that I didn't necessarily know like where it would fit in elsewhere, and really I wouldn't even need to introduce it to you guys, but I think the sound of the beginning of this video is genuinely very scary, and I know you guys get really freaked out. You say you like watching these because like I'm watching them with you and you don't get as scared, so I wanted to give you like a precursor for this. I didn't want to just throw you into it, but here is that video talking about a very creepy account I found.
The scariest videos on TikTok.
What is going on with Grandma? Okay, but seriously, have you guys ever heard of the horror TikToker Fiji W1? He is an incredible creator who makes these absolute nightmare fuel videos over on his TikTok account, and they are so scary. Like the monsters, the ghosts, whatever are featured in them are terrifying, and I wanted to show you some of the scariest ones today. His videos are constantly going viral for being some of the most disturbing on TikTok, so you have been warned.
2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes and then I'm done. Oh, hey, Noah.
Getting up to get some water? Come on, bro. Don't do this. Bro, come on, get out of my bed, bro.
Oh, I'll just watch one more TikTok before bed. The TikTok before bed. If you're brave enough, go check out this poster's entire account because he's got some absolutely terrifying stuff on there. I also have a series I do occasionally where I will talk about like Reddit stories, and very often I will do Am I the A-hole stories that are not necessarily scary, and I'll just talk about them while I do my makeup. I think it's really fun. But occasionally I get ready and I talk about some scary Ask Reddit stories. Several years ago, I woke up next to my now ex-girlfriend, and we had a conversation in fluent French. I got up and got in the shower, and as the water started running, I realized neither of us spoke French. When I got out, I asked her about it. She remembered it happening as well, but was just as confused as I was. I can't even remember what we talked about because I don't speak French. Brains are weird. This one is so creepy, and it starts with, I knew my uncle had died. My mom had called me and told me the news. It was very sad. She told me in the middle of work, and I told one of my coworkers. He expressed his condolences on my loss. A couple weeks later, my sister mentioned my aunt and uncle doing something. I said, but he's dead. And my sister said, no, he wasn't. I called my mom. No, he wasn't dead. To this day, I'm still not sure how much of it my brain imagined and how much of it was real. Did I really talk to my coworker? Was I even on the phone with my mom at all that day? It still freaks me out knowing that my mind could fabricate so complete and real a memory like that. You guys are human, right? That's what my friend and I heard as we entered what we thought was an abandoned hospital. We went to this abandoned hospital urban exploring, and our plan when we get there is to just get up to the roof, drink some beer, and shoot the shit for a while. But the stairs up to the roof are locked, so my buddy helps me climb up from the outside of the building. Once I'm on the roof, the first thing that I spot is a sleeping bag and a steak knife laying next to it. I call out to my friend, hey man, I don't think we're alone up here. And an unfamiliar voice behind me says, no, but that's cool. I turn around to find a young, dirty, homeless-looking man walking towards me from the staircase. Hands up, palms out. He says, I didn't mean to scare you, and sits down on the stairs. It's cool, I say as I step on the handle of the steak knife and lean over the edge to help my friend up. We offer the guy a beer, which he gratefully accepts, and we all end up just kind of talking on the roof for a bit. We talk about the city, the cops. Turns out this guy is a drifter, and he's only been in town for about a week. The conversation's flowing and things are going pretty well until he suddenly asks, hey, you guys are human, right? At first, we don't say anything, so he continues. I hate when I meet people that end up being aliens, and you never know until you peel their skin off. They've been after me for a long time, you know, and they don't stop. They never stop. Sometimes I think I should unalive everyone I meet just to be safe. He's definitely not joking, and an uncomfortable silence hangs in the air as my friend and I realize what he's just said. Yeah, man, I say, we are definitely human. We just wanted to check the place out and drink some beer, but we don't want any trouble, so we're gonna get going now. We end up leaving him the last beer and slowly back up, climbing back down the building the way we came. All the while, he just watches us silently. We're looking over our shoulders the whole time as we leave, but he's just standing perfectly still, watching us go. That place is still abandoned 5 years later, and I've never been back. I'm not a believer in the supernatural, but humans can be deceptive and dangerous in ways you may not see coming. That Reddit story is absolute nightmare fuel. The minute that I read it, I was like, I need to talk about this in a video. Stories like this are why you have to be so careful urban exploring or visiting abandoned places like this, because when you think you're alone, there's a chance you might not be. And there you all have it. That was 35 scary TikToks from the scariest side of TikTok, my side of TikTok. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am so excited to be back with you. I have missed you so terribly. So I hope you enjoyed this first video back. I know there's a ton of scary stuff that has just popped up that you guys have been tagging me in. Well, you've been tagging me in stuff for months. I'm so far behind. I've just been so sick and completely out of commission since like the end of May. So forgive me while I get back to it, but I will see you very soon in my next video. I want to say a huge thank you to all of you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go to give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. An extra special thank you to my subscribers who are members of the channel. If you want to join the channel memberships and get extra members exclusive perks like members only videos, just posted one today, as well as other members only perks, polls, help me decide on future video topics, updates. You find out what I'm doing before anybody else. You can click that little join button somewhere around the screen. We would love to have you. An extra special thank you to my VIP lows for your continued and very generous support of the channel. I love and appreciate you all very, very much. I love you all very much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.